It's Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com or on their Facebook page. Also brought to you by WYDOT. Sign up today for the Wyoming Travel Authorization Program. Small system is going to come into the region tomorrow. And there's going to be, for some of you, especially parts of Wyoming and Nebraska, then back across Utah and Idaho, and parts of the mountain areas of Colorado and the plains of Colorado, a little bit of snow coming. It's a small system, and we'll show you in a little more detail on who's going to be affected. Basically, it's a leftover of what's hitting the West Coast right now. Today, that Pacific moisture will bring increasing snow showers for areas west of the Continental Divide during the day today and tonight. So if you live west of the Divide, you'll have thicker clouds, some developing snow shower activity. Then as that Pacific wave comes over the mountains and into the plains late tonight and Wednesday, there's going to be a small area of accumulating snow over Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska, then upstream as it comes through across Idaho and Utah, and then out on into the plains. It's a small system, but underneath it, there's going to be a swath of some moderate snowfall for some of you tomorrow. There's a break in the pattern as there's a kind of a temporary area of high pressure that'll be around for 2 or 3 days, basically Thursday through Saturday. There's a break. Then there's going to be another push of Pacific weather coming into the West Coast again. And then some of that pushes into the high plains and Rockies as we get into the Sunday, Monday timeframe and the Tuesday of next week. And again, this is a pattern that's Pacific dominated. So it's not going to get really cold as the Arctic is still getting cut off. Great shot of some halo situations that you get around the moon. Al Knight and Casper sent this with these high-level Pacific moisture clouds coming on in. You get these rings around the moon or the rings around the sun, especially when you have cirrus clouds that come in these moisture layers that come in ahead of these Pacific storms. And speaking of which, again, a very impressive satellite image this morning of these systems just lined up. Right here, all of these high and mid-level clouds and snow showers associated with the wave that hit California yesterday. Here's the next wave hitting California today. Basically, it's what's going to be left of this system coming through tomorrow that's going to be the weather maker. But you can see back across the Pacific, more swirls, more Pacific moisture coming in with strong jet stream winds there. So the pipeline continues. Today, you can see where that upper level wave is, just off the coast of Northern California. And basically, this is all what's left of the system that hit the West Coast yesterday. So they really get chewed up as they hit the coast. But that little piece of energy comes through. This is by tomorrow morning. This little low pressure system doesn't look like much, but there's going to be an area of moisture and instability just north of it as it goes through. So as it goes through, it is going to be able to produce some weather. Now, this is through tomorrow morning. This is the moisture that falls from, at the making of this video, through early Wednesday morning. So you can see across California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, into western Wyoming, into the Continental Divide of Colorado. There's going to be a slug of moisture coming on through. Out on the plains, not very much. This is going to be the push coming in tonight and into tomorrow morning. Then this is through the next 24-hour period through Thursday morning. You see this little arch right here? There's going to be a slug of snow on the north side of the low as it comes on through. Again, it's not a big area, but you can see the enhancement right here of the blue color, darker green color. This area right here and into the mountains, we'll see a period of light to moderate snowfall. So along Interstate 25 for places like Douglas and Casper and Lusk and maybe Wheatland into the Nebraska panhandle there's going to be a small patch of moderate to maybe even some heavy snow. And then some lighter snows will break out here across eastern areas of Colorado, in the northwest Kansas and southwest Nebraska as the low goes through tomorrow night and into Thursday morning before becoming a bit more of a weather maker as it heads into the West Coast. So it hits the West Coast, it weakens considerably, but there's going to be enough left. There you can see that right there to be a little bit of a weather maker over a smaller area. But notice across Montana, the northern plains, this area right here, the way these systems are coming in, completely missing the northern plains, Montana, and the far northern areas. These guys haven't seen any real significant weather for a couple of weeks because all the action is down here, and that's how it's going to go for a little bit longer. Focusing in a little bit closer, this little arch, this little tongue of moisture right here is what you really need to watch out for along Interstate 80 as well in terms of some travel concerns later today, but especially overnight and through the day Wednesday into early Thursday. There's quite a bit of snow on the ground in these areas right here, and there's going to be some more. Also, some more here across Interstate 80 where the snow is deep across south central Wyoming from those weekend storms that we had over New Year's weekend. Then we have a break in the weather. That low heads into the Great Lakes. This could end up being a weather maker along the East Coast here by the weekend, but there's a little break. So we've got a little bit of high pressure right here. So this is for Friday afternoon. So as we get into Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, there's a break, but here they come. Lined up again. 1, 2, 3, coming into the West Coast. And then this all pushes inland. So this is by late Sunday and then into Monday of next week. There's going to be a push of Pacific moisture coming on in, maybe coming in a little bit more north than what we've seen. So this will bring another round of wet weather to the West Coast, and some of this moisture will push into the Rockies and the High Plains region. So the pattern stays very active, but the dominating force still is the Pacific. The Arctic is still cut off, and I can tell you, and I'll show you this map tomorrow, there is a lot of cold air over in Russia, Siberia, far eastern Europe, a lot of Arctic air that we've got to keep an eye on. I think eventually it's going to come over on this side of the globe, kind of a situation where we saw in late November and December, where that Arctic air took a while to get its way over, but it's building and it's there. But this is still a Pacific-dominated pattern for another 7 days. Then you can see over the next 10 days how wet it is along the West Coast, moisture pushing inland, and some of this moisture right here coming on in early next week with those Pacific waves, and maybe some of that moisture also getting a little bit further to the north as well. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.